Today, we're bringing you an exclusive analysis of the Nexperia incident by our channel. It's a view that connects scattered events into a single, coherent pattern, one that reveals how global trust itself is being quietly rewritten. The Nexperia incident may look like a simple corporate governance crisis, but it very likely represents something much larger, another quiet surge in the ongoing Cold War. Listen carefully. The Nexperia incident is another silent Nord Stream moment. Only this time, what exploded was not a gas pipeline, but the fragile trust that once held globalization together. For 3 decades, Europe lived in a carefully engineered balance. Its energy came from Russia, its manufacturing strength from China, and its markets again were in China. German cars, French chemicals, Italian machinery, the more they sold to China, the steadier Europe's welfare system became. This balance allowed Europe to hide its geopolitical unease behind economic comfort. Then, the war in Ukraine tore that balance apart. Suddenly, security became more important than efficiency. In September 2022, the Nord Stream gas pipeline exploded deep under the Baltic Sea. Even to this day, no one knows who did it. But the effect was unmistakable. A total energy rupture between Russia and Europe. From that moment on, Europe's gas supply was largely cut off from Russia. It was replaced by liquefied natural gas shipped across the Atlantic, costlier but unavoidable. That explosion didn't just change the flow of energy, it changed Europe's entire sense of safety. For the first time, the continent realized that in this new era of confrontation, any form of dependence could be severed overnight, and now, the Nexperia case feels like the continuation of that same logic, only this time, the blade cuts through the arteries of manufacturing itself. The Dutch government suddenly invoked wartime legislation to take control of a semiconductor company owned by Chinese capital. Officially, it was about management issues, but the timing, the phrasing, and the surrounding context make it hard to see this as a coincidence. Can anyone truly believe this is an isolated case? In our view, it carries the same air of mystery as the Nord Stream explosion, an event that to this day remains unsolved. No one knows who did it, but everyone understands what it achieved, a deeper and irreversible energy split between Russia and Europe. And that raises the central question, who truly benefited from that rupture? What we are witnessing is not just an economic fracture, but a divide born from ideology and security concerns. On the surface, it's about technology, investment, and regulation. But underneath, it's about the way open societies and authoritarian systems are drawing their boundaries. Some see it as a natural separation, democracies seeking to protect themselves. Others believe it reflects a strategic effort by powerful nations to keep Europe dependent, and to widen the distance between Europe, China, and Russia. In either case, this divide is reshaping the foundations of globalization itself. This may well be another step in what we could call Cold War 2.0, a cold conflict unfolding quietly through the global economy. After energy comes manufacturing. The supply chain has become the new front line, and Nexperia, this might be the first shot. Now, the Netherlands is not yet acting as Europe as a whole. It remains a single player, small, precise, but symbolic. However, if China were to respond too aggressively, the Netherlands would quickly find itself embraced by the entire European Union, united under the banner of collective security. That is the delicate balance we see right now. Europe not yet fully united, but ready to close ranks at any moment. Meanwhile, a broader force is moving beneath the surface. This isn't conspiracy. It's strategic inertia. When the so-called free world feels insecure, its members naturally draw closer, not through declarations, but through quiet synchronization. It hides beneath neutral words like transparency, governance, and risk. Look at the rhythm. Last year, the United States added China's Wingtech technology to its entity list. Then, in September this year, Washington expanded those export rules, soon after the Nexperia incident erupted. These events are not random. They are links in one chain, marking the reorganization of the world order, from energy to chips, from raw materials to standards. The world is shifting into an age where security outweighs efficiency. This is what the Cold War looks like, right now, in real time. And in this unfolding drama, China still appears relatively restrained. It could retaliate, and powerfully, but for now, it chooses to hold back. This is a temporary decision, not a permanent stance, a moment of deliberate endurance. Beijing understands that the Netherlands is not the true adversary. The real rival lies much farther away, the United States. Europe, in contrast, remains a channel worth preserving, a window that China cannot afford to see closed. So for now, China waits. It slows its countermeasures, observes carefully, and watches how Europe reacts. Because it knows that if relations with Europe collapse completely, the impact will be mutual. But the pain will be far heavier at home. Inside China, the economic pressure is already visible. Exports are slowing. Real estate remains under deep strain. Local governments are weighed down by debt. And across the country, mortgage defaults are rising sharply. More and more homeowners have stopped paying their loans. Financial bloggers and independent commentators have been silenced online these weeks. These are all signs of mounting internal tension, and they explain why Beijing is choosing patience over confrontation. But patience doesn't stop the momentum of history. The new Cold War structure is already unfolding. Globalization is receding. Words like de-risking, localization, and friend-shoring are replacing efficiency, cooperation, and trust. This is the birth of a new order, a world governed by the logic of security. If the Nord Stream explosion was the opening act of Cold War 2.0, then the Nexperia incident is its next chapter. The same logic, the same leverage, only a different battlefield. Nord Stream cut off energy. Nexperia cuts off manufacturing. Next may come finance, data, or standards. Each rupture pushes the world one step closer to full polarization, and that's the essence of our exclusive analysis. This is not a random corporate crisis. It's a deliberate, directional reshaping of global power, a key leverage. And it is the beginning of the second phase of the Cold War, the supply chain phase. We are living inside it, from Huawei to Nord Stream, from Nord Stream to Nexperia. These are not separate stories. They are chapters of the same historical sequence, a line that stretches from the depths of the global economy, slowly tracing the dividing lines of a new world. China stays restrained. The Netherlands hesitates. Europe watches. The United States pushes forward. These forces are not just moving, they are colliding. And when future generations open their history books, they may see that the real starting point of Cold War 2.0, or perhaps even World War III, was the Crimea conflict. That first fracture, like a small wound on the body of the world, quietly began to spread, because this is not peace. It is another kind of war, a war without gunfire, without front lines, without declarations. Its battlefield lies in supply chains, in laws, and in trust. Its weapons are sanctions, export controls, and legislative text, and its consequences will reshape the structure of the entire global economy. The Nexperia incident is not just a Dutch story. It is a signal that globalization is dissolving and a new order is quietly rising in its place. While others debate CEOs and headlines, we are tracing the deeper pattern. This is not a company in trouble. It is a live experiment in geopolitical tension, the latest chapter of the Cold War, and we are all standing inside its unfolding story.